This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and what I have for you today is a really interesting motorcycle disc brake lock. What makes it so interesting is this unusual dual cylinder figure 8 shaped core. Now, if either one of these cylinders were in a lock by itself, I'd consider them pretty darn unusual. We have a round keyway with the exception of a little nub at the bottom and notch at the top, probably to make sure you don't insert the key wrong. And then we have two banks of 4 pins that go into that round keyway, one bank on the side and one on the top. This right cylinder is a mirror image of the one on the left because the pins are coming in from the opposite side. Now, it's not all that unusual to see two cylinders in a lock, but usually that's in a dual custody arrangement. Here we have something very different. We have a single key with 2 prongs. So to open this lock up, we insert each of those prongs into one of the keyways and rotate the bow. And when you do that, a gearbox in the center of the key will translate the rotation of the bow into rotation of each of those prongs, and we open the lock up. Let's take a closer look at this key because it really is pretty darn interesting. You can see that on this round prong, we have a bitting surface on the top and again on the side. Same thing on both of them. And then when we rotate this bow, we get counter rotation on each of those prongs. Pretty darn cool, unless of course that breaks on you, in which case you might have some trouble. Now, this simultaneous rotation isn't just for show. You actually do have to rotate both of these cores simultaneously or the lock will not open. I did a lot of experimenting, and the only way I could get the lock to open was with simultaneous rotation of the core. Now, what attracted me to this lock originally was an eBay search that I always have running for the words Pickproof and lock. And that is how this lock is advertised. It is advertised as Pickproof. So I decided to accept the challenge, and it turns out it's not that hard to open once you get past a few unusual items. The first is how you tension that round keyway. And what I'm going to do is take advantage of that little nub you see at the bottom of the keyway. And I'm going to use 2 tension wrenches that I've gotten with Sparrow's kits in the past that I've never been able to find a use for, but it turns out they work out pretty darn well in this keyway because I can grab that little notch on the side and hold on to it pretty well. It slips out every now and then, but most of the time it works well. Now, as far as picking both of these at the same time, I'm obviously not going to do that. What I can do, however, is pick the one on the left first and rotate it a tiny little bit and leave it there while I'm picking the one on the right. And the reason I do the one on the left first is that the spring tension on this left cylinder is not as tight as the right cylinder. If I were to pick this one on the right first and try to leave it just a little bit picked, it would just snap shut. But I can do that with this one. So I'll pick this one first, leave it in a slightly picked position, then move over to the right side. And once I have the right side opened, I'll put a second tension wrench in the left side and rotate them both at the same time. So let's see if we can do all of that. Let's start with this left side, put some tension in there. There we go. And get to picking. Okay, I'm working on this top bank of pins. Just got to click out of the first one. Little click out of 2, 3. And 4 is not helping me out at all. So let's check all these again. 1, 2, 3. Come on, 4. There we go, 4. I got a little bit of movement on the core. So let's try these side pins now. Nothing on the first one. Click out of the second. Click out of the third. Click out of the fourth. And I just moved it a tiny little bit. Now let me show you something. I'll zoom in just a bit and show you that if I try to turn this all the way, nothing will happen. It'll just stop. So let me leave this in the slightly picked position and move on to the right side core. One additional note I should tell you about picking this is I am using a brand new pick. And I found out the pick that I usually use is way too smooth. I was slipping off of the pins all the time, but I found a brand new rough pick grabbed onto these pins pretty well, and turns out it worked a whole lot better. Okay, 1 is loose. Click out of 2, click out of 3, click out of 4. I felt a little bit of motion, which means we have that set. Let's move on to these side pins now. Okay, I think I got to click out of the first one. And let me try to find that second one. There we go, got the second one. Third one. And there we go, fourth. Uh-oh, my tension wrench slipped out. I am holding that, hoping I don't lose the pick. There we go. And I can show you that if I try to turn this one by itself, nothing will happen. However, if I insert a second tension wrench, then rotate both of these at the same time, we open the lock up. Okay, so a procedurally taxing pick, though nothing particularly hard about it, but once you figure out how to open this guy up as far as what steps to take in what order, picking this is really not an issue. So that has been a really unusual dual cylinder, dual prong key, I don't even know what to call this thing. If you do have any questions or comments about it, please put them below. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.